my garbage room is literally filled with the McDonald's takeout bags, the Uber Eats bags. But anyways, I don't care. I like McDonald's. Yeah. So
you know what I'm saying?
It's kind of like a need, but
like I don't use one ply no more.
Perfect.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Sincerely Millennials. Once again, I'm your host, Nia Janae, and I have my wonderful group of friends here. So we're just going to do a little round table again.
What up?
Tell them who you are, where to find you.
Of course, it's Farah. I'm back with you guys again. Thank you for having me at Love for Farah.
Ehab, back again for the third episode.
And it's Greg, and I don't have Instagram, right? Keeping that secret. So
I'm going to be honest with our audience at this point. This is my third episode, so I feel like we have a really good relationship. So I guess now's a good time to tell you, I actually do have Instagram. And you can give me a follow at Dream Films CA, so Dream Films Ka. It's a wedding videography page, because that's what I do.
And he's great, guys.
He's amazing.
He's great.
He is amazing.
I've seen
Raph doesn't let you in right away, though, right?
If you guys follow me, I would have exposed his page by now, so don't worry.
Only took like 4 hours.
Yeah. It only took us a couple hours. But
Couple
honestly,
podcasts, but
Couple podcasts later, but
You
yeah.
let him in.
You let him in, yeah.
I let him in, yeah.
It's more than I.
It's exclusive.
Yeah.
if you guys are doing
Exclusive.
any type of photo shoot, weddings, he's amazing. Videography, he's amazing. If you go to mine or Farah's page, you'll see any of our Halloween shoots. He did all of them. Shout
He's
out
really
to
great. Yeah.
Raph.
He's really good.
Awesome. So as you can see from the title, whether you guys are watching this on YouTube or listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, whatever the case is, this one is about financial habits you have to break. So pretty much what I wanted to discuss first and foremost is just kind of bringing knowledge to the things that we know we spend too much money on as millennials and as individuals, obviously, and what you have realized you kind of need to really stop doing. So the first thing I do want to ask you guys is, what do you find that you spend the most money on outside of your housing costs, like household needs?
Food.
Okay.
Food, yeah.
Okay.
gotta eat.
I think it definitely.
I would say, yeah.
I'm eating all my money. 100%.
Lots of food. I would say food. Okay, the thing with me is that I don't spare no expense when it comes to the food. So if the food is good, I will pay for a good quality meal.
Yes.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Okay, there's other things that I might be like, okay, maybe I can cut here, but with food, I never cheap out.
And you
I
shouldn't. It's food, right? Like
Yeah,
I
like-
believe that. Yeah, right. You shouldn't cheap out on food because it's
No.
food, and you want to eat good, even if it's shitty. Whatever. Food is food. Yeah.
It depends on if you're going to eat out or if you're eating in. Because ultimately that's, going back to the whole financial thing, that's where it starts, right? You can literally, and I've done it, you can feed yourself, I would argue 3, maybe even 4 times for one good $20 meal.
Yeah.
Right? So it depends on really what you're going for. And especially with Uber Eats.
It's a convenience, right?
Skip
It's like
the dishes.
it's
so
like, you know,
easy.
you're working all day, you come home, you know, you hit the gym, and you're like, oh, like now I gotta cook. On top of that, now I gotta
Nope.
clean.
I'm getting a double Big Mac from
Yeah,
McDonald's.
not
It'll be
necessarily.
down the.
That's what Greg thinks.
Yo.
I don't think that way.
So my garbage room is literally filled with
You're not allowed to
the
have
McDonald's takeout bags, the Uber Eats bags. But anyways, I don't care. I like McDonald's. Yeah. So
Honestly, I think for myself as well, it is, fast food is like the biggest thing. And it's kind of funny that we all said the same thing and it's not anything else. So I feel like obviously if it's the same with all of us and we all have very different like day-to-day lives, that has to be the same for our listeners. Like it has to be food.
I do want to also say, food is a big part, but I do have like a shopping problem as well. Maybe as a girl, from like a girl's perspective.
Tell your truth, girl. Speak
retail
your
therapy.
truth.
I will say like I've already blown through my fun budget and the month's not even done, right? I'm into February's fun budget at this point.
Yeah.
So I will say like that as well. Like, and it's a part of being a part of the trend. Like, makeup comes out,
Yeah.
like a new collection comes out. You want to it's limited edition.
there's always something.
It's always
It's always
something. No, it's always something.
For sure.
So
Like
I definitely have a problem with that, where it's like, okay, like I have to cut myself off. Like, okay, you're good.
Right.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
don't need it that badly. We can survive without it.
For me, it's fast food, more so in Uber Eats. And it's only more so recently, I would say, since I got back from Thailand, because I got back and it was December. Then you have all of Christmas going on. So, like, I'm not really needing to go buy food because like, you're always going to all these events and stuff, right? Then January came and I'm like, well, now it's snowing. And, like, obviously, for people that don't know, we record in Toronto, like, we're Canadian. So I'm not going outside in a snowstorm. I don't have the energy or the desire to go out grocery shopping when you have to bring the cold bags and you're bringing that all the way to the car. I don't want to do it. So that does play a role for me. 100% it's sheer laziness, but I don't want to do it for that.
It is what it is. Like,
I've done the math. Eating out and eating healthy, grocery wise, very similar.
Very
in cost.
similar.
Very.
So you
Very
gotta
similar.
understand, okay? The difference is the
convenience.
Convenience.
It's like, okay, it's very similar. Listen, can you, if you're really good at, shopping and whatnot, you can save some money. Like, let's be real here.
When we say eating healthy, though, we do mean organic because you
Yeah,
can't
like
eat healthy
organic food.
without eating organic, and
Right.
it is much cheaper than
Right.
eating out. But if you're
Right.
eating organic, obviously, and trying to watch what you eat, then yes, it does become very expensive, and that's just like a reality, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people know by now.
And not all of us are good at cooking. You know what I mean?
That
like,
too.
Luckily for me, like he likes to cook and he's a good cook. But like
He's a great chef.
he's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
chef.
yeah.
But like
I'll give you that.
Like I don't cook in our household, which is very different for us because typically you would think like the woman cooks.
Yeah.
I'm a
So
tip-
for me, like my spouse is the one that cooks too, but like how you're more like 9 to 5. My spouse isn't really 9 to 5, so it's like I might get meals for like a whole week and a half. Every dinner, and then I might be like, no, like I don't have dinner again for the next week and a half. So it's like, well,
Right.
like I guess I'm ordering food now. But that's again going into the sheer laziness of it, of me knowing it, acknowledging it, and being like, okay, I have to be more proactive about, okay, what can I eat? What am I okay with making? And isn't going to take too much time? Because for me, when I'm hungry like instantly. Like you said, the convenience of it. I don't want to wait to make my food. And my mind doesn't tell myself, like, you're going to be hungry in half an hour.
Right.
You should probably start now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
I'm not hungry.
Yeah,
And
right.
then, like, I get into, like, my 7th episode of Simpsons, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm hungry
I'm
now.
starving. I want a bag of chips.
And I will
Now.
say too,
Right
when
now.
you cook, it changes your appetite. Like whilst you're cooking, after you're done, your appetite to eat is not the same.
You're not as
Like,
hungry.
No, you're really not.
So,
with
Yeah.
just food, I just wanted to say, just because I'm not a great cook, but I'm kind of lucky in a way where I don't really care for flavor too much. So I'll
Said nobody ever.
so
whoa.
So you just like a bland.
no. I don't like it bland. It's not like I'm eating.
Raph
So what do you
Eat
eat? Like, what's your
anything?
your
Well-
go-to dish? Or
I usually like some salmon, some rice,
Okay.
and some vegetables.
Oh, you
Okay.
like fish? You're a fish person.
Yeah,
So you're healthy
tilapia
with
rice.
it.
It's
Yeah, I
not bad,
try.
though. That's,
You know what I
that's,
mean?
that's pretty healthy.
You know
Good
what I'm
for you.
saying?
That's
And-
that's way more than I've
But-
ever
Greg's
done.
double Big Mac combo.
I'm a double Big
I've
Mac.
been there. I was there
Yeah.
yesterday.
Oh,
So
I'm there every
I was
day.
yesterday.
Shout
Yeah.
out McDonald's.
Straight up.
it's
maybe
so
we can get
easy
a
now with
sponsorship
the
on this
tap, right?
podcast.
Please feel free to sponsor us, McDonald's
You
Canada.
know how easy it is? Like, it's so easy to spend money. Like, I don't know. For me, I find that, like, it's just so easy to spend.
I don't even
right?
punch my-
and it's
my
so
code
hard
anymore.
to earn, right? So, like, we're just so used to, like, and they make it even more convenient for you. To
So
spend money.
convenient.
Well, when you
Like, put it
cook-
on your phone. Put it on.
pay with your
you know,
watch.
what app.
Yeah, when you cook, and tell me, maybe you can relate to this, right? Is like when you cook, right? You kind of gain appreciation for food in a way where it's like, you know what? I can make. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like sometimes you're like, I don't want to make anything, so like, let me just order in. But I think with people who do cook, I could be wrong, but you're less inclined to order out. I feel
Yeah.
like when you know how to prepare your own meal, right?
Because you
And
can
I cut
prepare
back
what you actually
No.
feel
I
for.
cut back a lot. Personally, I cut back a lot when I like learn how to like make my own food.
I will say this: if I was able to make pasta the way my spouse makes pasta, I would make pasta more often. I can't make pasta the way he does, and I don't like sitting there.
Pasta's like the easiest dish.
No. The way he makes pasta is
boil
different.
the
Like
water.
no, he actually takes time to create a sauce. Like he's
Right.
not like just being like,
So
oh,
the
I'm gonna buy this
sauce-
like sauce and I'm gonna just marinate it and it's there. No, he takes his time. He wants to add every single type of like dairy he can into it, and it takes like a good solid hour and change for him to make pasta. It's not fast. So for me, it's like if I could
That's a
do.
long time for pasta.
Yeah,
in
I
my
know.
opinion, at least.
Yeah,
That
like
is-
for his sauce,
I'm
it's
hungry. I'm
serious.
gonna have to order food by the time he's done.
You know? So when he's actually making it and stuff like that, it's like if I could do it the way he does and I could do it faster, then obviously I would. But I can't. And I don't.
But you
so
can learn,
I won't.
trust me. And that's what cooking is. People are just afraid to cook. They just think it's not going to be that good. Obviously, your first couple
I
dishes
think-
are not going to be that
but
good.
I think it's
right?
all
You're
about
brand new to
having-
cooking.
Yeah.
You gotta fail. Like all
When
these
you first
chefs,
start anything,
It's
you're
about
gonna
it's
fail.
about the week that I'm
automatically
having.
good.
If I'm waking up 5 a.m. to go to the gym and then you know what I mean, I work an 8-hour shift and I come home, you know what I mean, to have to cook.
It's hard.
It's
And
oh
clean,
my
and
god!
clean, 'cause there's a cleaning
clean up-
aspect of it.
Exactly. Now
Pick a place,
we do
bro.
split
Pick a
it where
place.
like he cooks, I clean. We do
Same.
split that, and it does make it easier. But to have to do that 5 days a fucking like week.
It's a lot.
exhausting. Like, thank God my mother-in-law is back. Like, she definitely like
Holds it down.
holds it down for the team 100%.
No. Okay. So the next thing I do want to say is like, do you track your spending? You know what I mean? So I know you and me, we just recently started doing that, but like,
Yeah.
do you track your spending every single time you spend? And if so, if like not, why don't you?
I want to say that I never used to. I was just kind of like, okay, this is my budget, and let's just kind of like wing it, kind of thing.
Try to stick to it.
Try to
with
stick to.
your like mental, like, okay, right? I spent
Yeah.
$100 yesterday.
I've
No.
realized that's the
It
worst.
never works.
That
it
never works.
Ah!
You need the black and white.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so thank you to my bestie. She literally bought me an expense tracker where I write down every single transaction I've made, whether it's cash, debit, credit. I have like an expense tracker to track everything, and that has definitely like put it into perspective for me. Like that's how I knew I blew through the budget without even realizing
Right.
that I blew through the budget.
So it's like when you
That-
actually
yeah.
write it down, you end up seeing like, even for myself, like I'm not capping. Like I gave you the expense journal, and when I was writing my own expense, I was like, damn girl, like we're gonna need to do a reset in February because we are doing too
absolutely
much.
everything.
He's a lot better at
Everything.
tracking everything.
Everything
And it
that
helps,
goes
no?
in and out is being tracked. I look at it. Is
it bad that I was scared to look at it?
The TD app has charts that tells you how much you've spent. Like,
Yeah,
it's
BMO doesn't
honestly
have that.
nowadays,
BMO doesn't have
these
That makes it
banks
pretty
and
easy,
apps
yeah.
are making it easier for you to, manage your money better. And I find that a lot of people choose not to look at it.
So for me,
It's
what I
hard
do
to look
feel
at
like,
it.
though, is like when it comes to, because I know exactly what you're talking about with their chart that they have, because there's something you can add to your bank account for like Scotia to do that.
Yeah, like
But
just
I will be
trends.
honest, it is a lot less detailed and less in perspective as our expense journal is, because like your expense journal, not so much. I don't have my journal on me, but
can
when I write down
write down
everything,
exactly
the
what
back
it
of
is.
mine though, it actually breaks everything down into categories. So to the point where it's like
Actually,
it explains to me on the back of mine,
But-
which is a little
same
different
thing
from
with- same
far
thing
as
with
like how much like investments is its own category. This is how much you spent in a home investment, apartment insurance, life insurance. Like it breaks everything down for me so much more that when I get to the miscellaneous, I'm like, damn girl, like you really like, it's good to know like, okay, yeah, you spent this much money on food, but some of that food is groceries. What if it is fast food?
Exactly.
What fast food did I buy? What
Exactly.
days did I buy that? I want to be able to track every single day, but in like a category. So my journal or my agenda, it lets me break it down in categories per day as well too. So once I'm doing it and I have every expense I wrote, then I have bills that I wrote too. If I needed the expense that I needed or that I bought, did I need it? Did I want it? How did I pay for it? So I can also track it, because maybe you're spending money on your credit card and not your debit, and you're forgetting what you spent on it. So I like writing it down, because as writing it down and like she said, like I had a good understanding, but once you fully actually write it down, like transaction after transaction yourself, not my app, not like transaction after transaction, and then put them together at the end, you're like, girl, we need some work.
But you
Like,
know what?
how did
Yeah,
I
yeah,
eat
you know
that?
what?
How
That
did I eat a whole
information-
paycheck?
Listen,
I ate my whole paycheck. How
Yeah.
did I do that?
I can give
Yeah.
you all this information. I can give you like literally the time, like any information that you need, but it's what you do with the information, right?
Yeah.
Like at work you get reports for this or reports for that or whatever, but it's what you do with that data is what is gonna make you move forward, right?
No, for sure.
So you tracking all these things are great, 100%, but being able to take action and do something about it is the real positive out of tracking all your stuff.
So that's the question, right? You track it. What do you do? Like once a month,
So at this
review
point,
it. Like you go back. Do you like say,
Yeah.
okay, right? I spent this much on.
That's how the
on,
tracker
like,
is. So
X.
like once you have it set up and you finish writing it down at the very end of the tracker for the month, because it's set up into 6 different months. So not to overwhelm you, I guess, by thinking like, oh, I got to do it for the whole year. You do the first 6 months. At the very end, the last page, for mine at least, it lets you write it down in categories, and then you subtotal that. So it's like what you projected you were going to spend, what you actually spent, and what the difference is between what you projected and what you
spent.
actually spent. So it's all right there,
Balance
and I can
sheet.
look at it every single month as I flip through my agenda. And then I see it, I'm like, okay, I spent this much more than I thought. Maybe it's not that I'm naive, like maybe it's not that I overspent necessarily, but maybe I was naive to how much I really need to spend in groceries. Maybe I'm naive into how much I actually have to spend on car gas.
Gas.
So that's the thing that I appreciate with mine. So it has the charts at the end, but then it gives you on this right beside it says, what's your goals for next month? What do you feel like you need to work on next month? What do you feel like you
has
learned from your
questions for
current
you to,
month?
like, journal
to
as well.
like really play with your mind to be like, you know what? This is what I need to do next month. This is what I need to do with this. did I need to go this place? And then as I'm writing down date by date and what gas I spent, I write down to like for myself, like just like slash beside it, like where was I going? Did I need to go there? Or did I want to go there?
I have a question for everybody. So we're kind of right now we're kind of analyzing the money that comes into us, right, into our bank accounts, and what do we do with it, right? But I want to approach it a little bit different. I want to ask you guys a different question. So I'm naturally a lazy person. I'm sure you guys know that about me. So and because I'm a lazy person, I try to not hop over steps, but I try to finesse not cut corners. I wouldn't say cut corners, but kind of finesse situations in a way.
You want to work smart, not hard.
Exactly. I want to work smart, not hard. Right. Okay. So when I was younger, right, and I was getting those first paychecks or whatever, right, I'm like, oh, we out here, right? I'm like, okay, I got a $500 paycheck. What can I do with $500? Right?
Yeah.
And then you grow up, and then you start to look at money differently, right? Mm-hmm. So what I do to save, right, is whatever I know that I'm going to be making that month, right? I will 1, pay the bills, right? And then 2, pay myself, right? As in like a savings, right?
I know everyone else heard that as well as me.
Yeah, he said pay himself.
Oh no, okay, you didn't hear it. Me and Jordan heard it.
Oh, would you?
Okay, yeah, you heard the fridge too. Okay.
All right. The fridge. Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay.
Oh. So, anyways, right? So I'll basically take care of my savings and my bills, and then the rest of what I have is what I have to use, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now it's a mentality, right? Because some people like myself, right? I like seeing every single month that I put away money, and I like to see it grow. Mm-hmm. Yes. To me, I'm like, oh yeah, there we go. That's it. That's it right there.
Everybody likes to see that.
Everyone likes to see that, right? But then there are other people where it's like, okay, these are all of my workers. I'm sure you guys heard like let your money work for you, right? So these are all my workers. How can I maximize each dollar here? Versus with me, right? I take half of my workers or 50, 60% of my workers, put them aside, right? And then my other 40 workers are going to just do what I need them to do for me to enjoy.
Indirectly, that 50-60% is working for you. By putting it in a savings account, it's working for you.
Yeah.
It might not be at the percentage or the return that you want, but it's giving you an opportunity to buy something larger,
Exactly. That's what I like
for you.
Yeah. So what I look at this, right, is I don't actually, like you guys were talking about the whole banking stuff and how it sorts out, right? I don't look at none of that because I'm like, that's too much information for me. I'm a simple person, right? I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna pay my bills.
You're maybe a little bit more disciplined than some people are as well.
Well, yeah, then it comes down to how much you got left. And then that's where it kicks in for me. It's like, okay, now I need to
slow it down
and see what, and then that's where my budget comes in. But I'll put money aside first. I don't know if you guys do that too.
One way of doing it. What I do is I have a tracking app on my phone, and so the journal's great. I like it. It's just you have to walk around with that book. I don't know, have like a purse. You put it in your purse. Me, I can't walk around with something like that.
Yeah.
So I use my phone. I'll go buy something, and I've made it a habit now. I go right to my phone and I write down what it was, and then I throw the receipt away. And it's the fast food thing or groceries. Okay, I'm at Food Basics. I'm gonna get something. Write it down. I spent like $50 on groceries, and I'll write Food Basics, and then I will have another category for fast food. I'm at McDonald's, as like, I don't know, like Burger King, whatever like that, write that down separately. And then at the end of the month, I'm kind of just like, oh, okay, like I bought a lot of McDonald's, Uber Eats, shout out to McDonald's. I'm out here.
Still feel free to sponsor us.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm keeping the lights on over there. Once a month I go back, I look, I will change my like budget maybe or whatever. It's just like, right?
So it's the same thing pretty much that we do. It's just instead of us
just
having
on my
book,
phone.
You
I use my
I
phone.
have to write it down.
It's way
for me,
easier.
I need to write it down. I feel like when it's on my phone, it's been on my phone. I don't look at it. Okay. I have to write it down. But I'm that person where I have to write it down. I have to walk around with this.
So that does play a role into like how we are as individuals, obviously.
Yes.
And we'll get into that with another podcast as well too. But like, we need to write things down. For me, I write things down, and I have more like scheduling stuff, whether it's writing it down or just in my phone. But when it comes to finances, I realize I have to write it down because if I don't, it almost doesn't feel real to me if I don't physically write it.
Yeah.
So moving on to that, and you kind of already
You know,
touched on it.
out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Like just
Yeah.
boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
and I'm out.
So
out.
money.
It's like money is tangible,
So-
you know? So typically we have a
Yes.
card. You can tap your card. Boom. Paid. Boom. Paid.
So your
boom,
card
paid.
doesn't get
You
smaller.
forget it.
Your card doesn't get smaller.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You're just tapping.
Exactly.
But
When
when
you
you
have
write
cash,
it down,
yeah.
even when you have cash, yeah, or when
It's
you're
like you
writing
see
it
it,
down
yeah.
and you're running out of room when you're writing, you're like, okay, we might need to like analyze
Like,
this.
and then-
why am I running out of space?
That's a
And
good
you go per day. So when you see
Yeah.
one day has 8 transactions and one day only had 2, you're like, oh shit, Thursday was lit.
Like, what did we do
Thursday, I
Thursday? You have to
blocked
start
all my
remembering
Thursday.
what you did on Thursday. What's beneficial is like when you're remembering what you did on Thursday, having it in your agenda, you can really go back and be like, what did I do on Thursday actually?
Yeah.
You see what you did, you see what you spent, and then you can be like, okay, let's adjust this for when I have another day like this again. Let's try to do this and this and this to avoid that. So something I do want to ask is, again, you kind of got, you touched on it a bit, is like for you with having that self-discipline, you already put money aside for saving. Because again, all 4 of us, we do look at our transactions per day, at least now we do. When you think about the transactions you have per day and how much money you're spending every week and every month, have you ever looked at how much you could potentially be saving, and is there potential to be saving more?
Oh, always. Yeah,
Definitely.
You can always
You can
save
always-
more, and you can always do better. Right. At the end of the day,
More
you're-
comfortably?
It's
you know
whatever
what?
you're-
Listen,
yeah.
you gotta It all starts with what goal do you have. I think that's where money savings always originates. You can't jump in a car and not know, not have an address to go to. Like, why are you in the car? You're not going anywhere.
You could
Same
go
thing
for a
with-
drive.
But going for a drive, you really don't have, like, it's meaningless, right? It's like you're going there for a drive. essentially.
right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you don't have an address. You jump in a car and you already have a point A. And if you don't have a goal, it's really hard to save money because why do I need to save money? You need to have something to save money for.
Yeah.
That gives you so much motivation. It makes you say, you know what, maybe I won't go out to the club this weekend and pop bottles with my boys because
Yeah.
I want to maybe save this money for this car or this place or this whatever, It could be anything, but it all starts with a goal. Once you have that goal, you will save money for that goal. That's how I feel.
It's priority, right? What's
Because
important to
then
you.
when you don't have a goal, like even Greg, I mean, when you didn't just buy your place, you were freely spending money.
Yeah. Like,
And once you realize you are committed now and that's the goal, it's like, I gotta lay back.
that's right. Yes, you have to have a goal. You have to have something you're working for. Problem is that when you don't, it doesn't make you as a bad person, a lost person, anything
No,
like
not
that.
at all.
It's just you are working hard or you're not working hard, whatever, and you're spending money and you don't know like anything, just that world, that's right, that the small like satisfaction of like buying a hat, right? Or like a pair of shoes. It's this constant just spend money on the small things.
The small satisfaction, is
Right.
Not like the grand goals.
Right. When you actually like have a goal, like whether it's a car or you want something that's really expensive, that is a huge driver.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people think that I'll never be able to have that. I'll never be able to have,
Yeah, for sure.
right? And that fear is covered up with small things like hats and
Exactly.
fucking
So
shoes
true.
and like Gucci belts and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's small shit that they can buy. No offense. I love it. I do the same shit.
For sure. But those things don't better you. They don't.
That is what I'm
advance you.
saying. Yo, set your goals high and
Yeah. And
reach
you know
for
what?
them. you
Yeah,
know?
always reach for the stars with your goals. Like honestly, that's like if I can tell any millennial that is always reach for the stars because at the end of the day, you always want to overshoot your goal than undershoot your goal. What if it's not, you don't want a goal to be so easily achievable. Like that's not a goal. It's not something that's like, like achieving it in like a week, like, oh, in a week I've achieved my goal. Like it's nice. Those are little wins, but you want the big wins, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I agree.
And yeah, right. I just want to go back on the other podcast, right? What I said about money and like, yeah, right. Like having the nice, is a big house or like a nice car. That's not everything. And I'm going to go back on that, but you have to have a drive or you have to want to be better or you have to want it's just a goal. Right?
Yeah.
And that goal, who knows where you'll end up, but just go. you know, it's like gonna be hard. It's like gonna be hard to save that money and to think that way, but just try, you know.
Nothing worth achieving
Every day you wake
is
up, you have
coming
choices.
easy
Yeah,
to
right.
you.
Should I buy this cup of coffee?
Nothing worth
Should
achieving
I
is
buy
easy.
lunch?
Right.
Should I go out with my friends for drinks after? You have choices every single day.
Absolutely.
It's
And
the
you
self-discipline of it all.
It's the discipline of it all, and it's hard. Again, listen,
It's hard, and like I'm not
honestly-
perfect.
I'm not perfect
I
either, and-
spend money on stupid shit all the time.
So do I.
I'm
You
sure
know
we've
what?
all had
do.
that,
You know,
that lapse.
you know, all right. I'm not sitting here like I'm great. I'm not. I'm just like you. I'm just
Yeah,
like you. I'm
me
just
too.
like you. What it is I've
How
programmed.
often? How
I've
often that
programmed
has
myself to be a certain way when it comes to finances.
Me
Yeah.
too.
And
And that's a mental programming.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not something that like it's like it's a really difficult programming to do. Like
It
everybody
sucks.
loves to spend
It's-
money. Who doesn't?
It's hard
wanna spend
sometimes,
money?
yeah.
You know how
It's true.
easy it is to just go somewhere and spend money. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Makes you feel great when you spend
When you
money.
drop a bag.
it
100%.
does.
It makes you
It
feel
really
so
does.
good.
It does.
But like, and you know, I gotta admit, like saving the money doesn't feel as good as spending it.
But once you're
But it
able to
does
save
feel
it
good.
and you drop a
It does
bigger
feel
bag.
Wait, no. Right. You actually told me this. You said, bro, we're gonna go to the bank and I just want to pull out all my money and just hold it.
Just hold it.
Okay, right. That said, what if we actually did that? I want to maybe go do that. Not like all of it. Let's just pull it out and hold it. You two,
And
you
it
two,
puts
you
things
two.
in
Hold it.
perspective.
Hold
That
fucking
would
cash.
make you feel
It's because
good.
what happens, you work hard, you save, everything's like tap,
It's
tap,
just a
tap.
number in
You don't
there.
have the
Yeah.
tangible thing. And I think if we were to do that, would be like, yo, I'm all right. Right? Yes, like that would have a value or like a monetary, like a tangible
Something you can
value.
hold.
Yeah.
We just look at a screen. Okay, I got $1,000. Am I
Yeah.
checking? I got 500. When you have it in cash, it changes everything,
For sure. 100%.
right? So I just thought of that. I just remember that, and I got excited. So,
But you know,
yeah.
listen.
No,
Spending money is the best, and saving money is so hard. And it, like honestly, sometimes when you're saving that money, you know, especially when you want something, it's hard. It's hard when you know you want something, and you just want it again. Not
And
need
you know
it.
you can
Want
buy
it. Okay.
But
I
it's
think that
hard.
is very
And you know
important.
you want
Do you
something,
buy it?
and you still and having the discipline to say, you know what, I'll get it when it's time for me to get it. Right now,
That is some
I'm
mental
saving
toughness.
Yeah.
I'm
I
saving
think,
It's
I
hard,
think,
man.
I
That's
think
mental
it's
toughness.
harder to like know, like you said.
But that's
like,
like want, not need. That's a different story. You need
100%,
something like if
100%.
I need
Well,
something for work, if I need like a
That's a
suit-
fine line as well.
Exactly.
For me, what I want and need. Right now, I'm at the point where is my wants have become my needs. My wants have become my needs is because right.
There's a blurry
you
line sometimes
Start
between
off
them.
and you're not making as much money, and then you make more money, and then you look back like I can't live like that anymore, or
No.
like I don't want to live like that anymore.
No. Once
And
you
your
elevate,
wants
your
become your
appetite
needs.
change.
And hey, you know what's right and wrong? I don't know, but that's who I am now.
Yeah.
And so it's another constant battle of like trying to be content and like humble with like, okay, right. I'm gonna use the Food Basics brand of the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Oh no, I want some Charmin. You know, like that's a need now.
Mess with Charmin.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Because
like.
when you level up, I can't
You
be
know what I'm
wiping
saying?
my ass with no
It's
name
kinda
toilet
like a
paper.
need,
What kind of
but-
shit is
Like
that?
I don't use one
But-
ply no more.
But look, Charmin is probably $5 more.
It
Yeah.
is.
Right? And so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I can cut back on certain things, but do I really want to? Is that no, it's a need. I need the Charmin. I need a nice
Yeah.
phone. I need a
Your
nice
mind
car.
starts
I
playing
want
with you about
organic
what
bananas.
your actual
it's
needs are.
it's right. That is my thing, which like I'm guilty of. Like I am like that.
Yeah.
I've become like, oh no, like I can't drink
I-
that, or
I
like
can relate.
I don't want that. And that is what I'm trying to like reflect on and actually, yeah. Right,
Okay.
I'll get the cheap water as opposed to the expensive water,
Yeah.
or like
I
just shit
don't
like that,
really need
right?
it.
Sometimes
Really,
you
like,
gotta
do
sit
I
back
need
and
it?
be
Like, do I need the Charmin?
How does the
I think I
rich
do,
stay
though,
rich,
still.
right? Sometimes you gotta get no name
Yeah.
water, like
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely a balance between your wants and your needs, and you have to really establish that as an individual and as millennials. That is something that I do feel like going into this like new year, new decade, the whole 9 yards. You do need to do. You need to write down, figure out what all your expenses are. What are you spending money on every single day, every single week? Once you actually write that down, you figure it out. Then you can be like, okay, you know what? I do need this thing that I bought. I spent too much money on it. So what's another alternative? But when you see it that way, you're really able to kind of start thinking of things like that. If you don't notice what you're spending money on, you can't know how to adjust it. It might not be cutting it
Yeah.
off, but you won't know how to adjust it.